Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. I'm just going to go off in this episode right here. I'm going to just let y'all know right now. I'm just going to go off. So make sure you go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, for as much as NBA fans, a good amount of us, acknowledge Michael Jordan being the greatest player of all time, there are some voices out there, some prominent voices that have been hating on Michael Jordan now for quite some time. The obvious ones are obviously Nick Wright and Shannon Sharpe to a little bit of a lesser degree. But those are the two main faces. I mean, Nick Wright was just came out and said he has Michael Jordan ranked as the third greatest player of all time. Enough said, nothing else more that we need to say about that, right? So you have Nick Wright, you have Shannon Sharpe, but there's one guy, a hidden one, that's been flying under the radar for a number of years now, and he's been quietly hating on Michael Jordan on the low. And that person is Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd has been hating on Michael Jordan on FS1 for years. We're going back to when they had Jim Jackson, they had Jason Terry, Steven Jackson, they had, Jason Whitlock. He was always finding some kind of obscure argument, throwing it out there, trying to hate on MJ in some way, shape, or form. And his latest comments on the Volume Network, his podcast network, are just another example of Colin Cowherd hating on Michael Jordan once again. But in this particular case, you just won't believe what he had to say about Michael Jordan and why he doesn't rank Jordan so high. But before we get into his comments, this video is brought to you by our sponsor, Aura, who's also the official sponsor of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards, only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura, by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is, we want to play these ridiculous comments for you guys, and then we're going to come back and react to it. So take a listen to what Colin Cowherd had to say about Michael Jordan here. Take a listen to that.
I always thought it was this simple. I'll ask you a question. The biggest knock on Jordan is this. How many playoff series did he win without Scottie Pippen?
0. He won 1 playoff game without Scottie Pippen.
Kareem and LeBron won multiple championships with other players. Jordan could not win without Pippen. And Michael, by the way, because of his...
Go ahead, sorry.
Because of Michael's style, which you often saw, you saw it in Washington. You saw it in his first 5 years in Chicago. He did not play well with other scorers. He played well with Pippen, who acknowledged he would be in the passenger seat. LeBron won without Kyrie. He won without AD. He won without titles, without D. Wade. Kareem won in Milwaukee. Kareem won in Los Angeles multiple times. Like, there is value that Brady, we know Tom is wonderful. The idea that he can win a title with Bruce Arians, with a different collection and a different culture, absolutely establishes him as a notch above Elway, Manning. It matters.
Right. You mentioned Pippen. I always go to Phil Jackson.
Where do I even start with this nonsense? Where do I even begin? Where do I even begin? He said, Jordan never won a championship without Scottie Pippen. That is a fact. Michael Jordan never won a championship without Scottie Pippen, and Michael Jordan has admitted as much. And he has no choice to admit it because it's the reality, right? So we know that. He then said, listen to this, Kareem and LeBron won championship with who? Other players. What? Other players? So Jordan couldn't win with Scottie Pippen, and LeBron and Kareem won with other players. Are you freaking kidding me? Other players. Kareem won a championship in Milwaukee with an other player named the Big O, Oscar Robertson. Then he won more championships with James Worthy and some guy, just some other guy, other player, some other guy in Magic Johnson, Irvin Magic Johnson, who most NBA fans have in their top 5 all time. That's who Kareem won with. In the case of LeBron James, the other players he won with are the first championship he won was with Chris Bosh, who's a Hall of Famer, and Dwayne Wade, who's arguably the 3rd greatest shooting guard in NBA history. His second championship, he won that with 3 Hall of Famers, and Chris Bosh, Ray Allen, and Dwayne Wade. So that should tell you, that comment alone should tell you why you cannot take Colin Cowherd seriously when he's talking about Michael Jordan. I can only assume that he said that for people that have absolutely no basketball history knowledge whatsoever. You must have started watching basketball probably 5 years ago for you to think that statement made any kind of sense. If you've been watching basketball for more than 5 years, you would know that statement was absolutely ridiculous. That's the first part. Let me get to the second. Here are the facts for the dweebs in attendance. They may think that he was saying something. Michael Jordan did not play with a single All-Star in his NBA career for the first 5 years of being a professional in the NBA. Jordan was drafted in 1984. When he came into the NBA, his first season, he was already unstoppable. He was drafted in 1984. Scottie Pippen was drafted in 1987. I didn't say Scottie Pippen became an All-Star in 1987. Scottie Pippen was drafted in 1987. Scottie Pippen made his first All-Star team in 91. 6 years later, essentially. 4 years later, but 6 years later from the time Jordan came into the NBA. And the moment Scottie Pippen developed into an All-Star, Jordan won the next 3 NBA championships. And then he went on to win 6 of the next 8 NBA championships, playing with only 2 top 75 players and only 2 Hall of Famers. Who's the other Hall of Famer that he put? Horace Grant is not a Hall of Famer. He's not. I don't think he is. Maybe I'm wrong. But it was Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. And in the Last Dance, the last year, that season, when Michael Jordan was 35 years old, when he won league MVP, finals MVP, made all first defense team. I think he led the league in scoring also that year. All-Star game, all of that stuff. At the age of 35, Dennis Rodman was about 37 years old. He wasn't playing with a spring chicken out there. It's just that he kept himself in tip-top shape miraculously and was able to go out there and perform at a high level. So what is Colin Cowherd talking about here? Colin Cowherd sometimes be sounding like Vlad when he talks about basketball. Well, Vlad, I can understand it. Vlad would just be clueless with the questions he asks. Clueless when he's asking basketball. But you can understand that Vlad is into news, hip-hop news, so you can understand that. This is a sports guy. This is a sports guy making millions of dollars a year to talk about sports, and we can't get the facts right on Michael Jordan? What are you talking about? He won with other players. These guys, Kareem and LeBron, and this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes when I say, but when LeBron, and I'm not dissing LeBron, but this is the fact of the matter what these guys do. They diminish the players that LeBron played with to make him seem bigger than life. And then they just start making up things about everybody else. And in this case, Michael Jordan. It was outlandish, those comments. These are my thoughts on it. So whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section about this nonsense. And then we'll catch y'all on the next episode. Peace.